Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
I'm Jez Moye.
And we have some breaking news here in Los Angeles. We have lots of fires, and we know that there is some chaos going on out there today. So we actually had a change of plans. We had a total show planned out, and this is like life. We decided that it's more important for our community.
Actually, here outside.
Hear the fire
right now. We felt like it was more important for us to, what is called in our community, to address the fires, to talk about that. We actually have some incredible footage. It's actually behind the scenes that we're going to show you guys, but we felt that today is the day to step into what presently is going on in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, it's a huge deal right now. Lots of folks in the LA area being affected by that.
Absolutely, and Rob, you drove here to the studio in West Hollywood from Santa Monica.
On the Vespa.
On a Vespa.
Yeah,
How did that affect your commute?
You know, it was crazy because I actually go to the gym before I come here in the mornings, and I was walking from the gym back to my place, and just, it was like snowing.
Wow.
Yeah, literally. And I remember looking up, and all of a sudden, of course, I get it in my eyes, and I'm thinking, wow, this is, I didn't even know. I didn't know that the fire was that bad. And you know, I got dressed, got on the Vespa, started on my way over here, and it was kind of crazy through Santa Monica. When I got to Brentwood, it lightened up, and then by the time that I got all the way over to West Hollywood here, it was a lot better, of course, the air quality. But yeah, kind of worried about the folks there.
Well, because of the Skirball fire, the 405 is shut down, you guys, from the 101 to the 10.
Yeah.
So there's traffic is being rerouted all over the city, but it is certainly affecting the entire city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, if you're in Los Angeles area, you are being touched and probably stressed out from all this. So here's what we have today. We have some incredible behind the scenes footage. Believe it or not, our mascot, our puppy Zoe, and the Focus TV family has a home up in Brentwood, and they were actually, what is it, Channel 7 came up and showed some footage behind it, interviewed them and showed, because they had a view overlooking the fire. So we want to show that to you right now so that we can see what's going on.
Here with ABC7 Eyewitness News, and we are about to go live here in the morning on this fire that is taking place just in your backyard right now, here off of Mulholland and Cassiano. And fortunately, we hear they're going to start opening up traffic to the 405, but the winds are still pretty crazy. Standing by.
Just trying to find it. We should have you ask Joe.
Joe, do you see me? Joe. Awesome.
I don't have IP telling.
They cannot hear me, they said. They can't hear me. 111111111. It's audio. We got audio. Okay. We have the Waldman family that's getting ready to evacuate, and we've got the fire coming up from their backyard. We're going to push in. I can go right now. The Waldman family is to my right, but we're going to push into the fire. We're going to then talk to the Waldman family, who's collecting some things to get out. They're here. They're over here. We're ready when you are. Standing by. Thank you. We're about to go in maybe 30 seconds.
Yes, Philip and Leslie, we're here off of Cassiano and Mulholland, and you can see over my shoulder the fire as it goes up this canyon here. We're in the backyard of the Waldman family. They've been so kind to bring us into the backyard so we could see the fire as it slowly pushes up this hillside. That's unfortunate, as you mentioned, if there could be possibly some homes on fire. I have the Waldmans actually standing by with me right now. Mrs. Waldman, her daughter, and their little dog Zoe. And when we pulled up, you guys were packing up. Tell us what you heard, what you saw. Did you get any warning?
I did. I got a really lovely friend called me this morning and said, oh my God, Cassiano Road, but there's another Cassiano Road down there. It just happens to be the same name, but it woke us up, and she said it was near the Getty. And then my dear neighbor around the corner called. We spoke this morning, and she gave me some advice. We're from the East Coast. We've only lived here 9 years, so this is, you know, panic mode, and we decided what to pack.
What did you pack? What did you grab?
Immediately ran and got like our passports, because my husband said everything can be replaced, and you know, I just wanted all of our photos. I mean, I literally just grabbed boxes and boxes of photos that are sitting upstairs waiting to be gone through.
And looking over your shoulder, I mean, you see these flames right next to these homes.
I mean, this is really hitting home. I mean, it's yesterday I was talking about all the people who are affected by the fires, and I was thinking how sad it was, and my kids had no school, and they were happy, and I said, but we have to realize the reason why you don't have school, and now it's happening to us. So when we woke up, it was really scary, because we went up on our second floor, and we looked out, and it was really, really strong flames in the darkness. And so I was in panic mode. I mean, my heart was pounding, and I just started grabbing things.
So what's next for you? Where are you going? What are you doing next?
We're gonna go to my husband's studio and hang out there and watch TV. And we were just getting ready to go over there. And I don't know. I mean, we're not gonna go far. We're just gonna keep an eye on the news. We'll be watching you guys to see if it's coming. But it's scary for sure. This is, like they say, right in your backyard. So I don't know. I don't know if we're supposed to evacuate, but we are evacuating.
Yeah, no, you're taking every precaution necessary. Mrs. Waldman, thank you very much. You can let us know if we can help you. Good luck to you and your family. And
Here we go.
Okay, and we're back, you guys. So we are so thrilled that Zoe's here safe from Brentwood, and knowing that we want to give a shout out to all the firefighters, all the newscasters, everyone involved. I know there's people with horses and all kinds of things. Maybe you can talk a little bit. What do they do?
Yeah, well, you know, first of all, if you're in an evacuation area, definitely want to evacuate if at all possible, for sure. In addition to the evacuation, even if you're not in an evacuation area, you want to, of course, take extra precaution.
Stay informed.
Yes, absolutely. If you have any lung or respiratory issues at all, of course, you want to take even additional precaution on top of that, sort of avoid outdoor activity overall.
The whole thing, it just has me really speechless, and I'm so concerned. I know families that are in that area are extremely stressed. How do they manage in the face of that and stay calm?
Boy, it's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
So important to know. I mean, I don't know if you want to chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just, you know, I've gone through a few fires in my life as far as I was from Santa Barbara, and we had so many fire evacuations up there. And I think that one thing, as you know, I know many people, they grab their pictures, number one thing, because everything can be replaced. That's reality. And we know that, you know, things happen in life, and we don't, you know, things can come and go, but our memories are, and our family and our loved ones are the most important thing.
Absolutely, yeah. You definitely want to take care of the people in your life first and foremost. All this stuff can be replaced, no question about that. If you're concerned about folks, you can always go to Facebook and check in. If you're in an area that's in danger, you can check in and tell folks that you're safe. Or if you want to check on others, you can go on Facebook and check in to see if
you know, that's a really interesting point that you brought up, because Zoe's family was getting text messages, you know, hours ago from all over the country of people checking in on Zoe, checking in on her family. And it's really interesting, the community and the conversation it sparks, the people you haven't talked to in over a year who reach out just to make sure you're okay, who extend an invitation, open their houses for you and your family to come and stay. And it's really interesting because not everybody would do that.
Absolutely true. You know, and it's interesting too, both my personal experience, I'm sure your personal experiences, and science speaks to the value of adversity, because adversity forces you to slow down and take stock of your life and really prioritize what's truly important, the people and things that are truly important in your life. And so you do want to stop and slow down right now, be especially mindful, and try to get as crystal clear as you can about what's absolutely most important in your life and take care of that first.
But what would you say to those people who would hesitate to reach out, who would think, oh, I'm not going to bother them, I'm not going to send that text message? Should they?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great question. I mean, I guess you feel that out for yourself, right? It's a personal thing. In my life, I know that I've never regretted reaching out and making sure that somebody's safe and sound, and just checking in. You know, worst case scenario, they don't write back at all, or you get a text message in response like, hey, how come you've been asked about me for a year? It's fine. I'd rather deal with that than I would than dealing with sort of guilt and regret about not having reached out.
So just a few things about the actual facts around this fire. Because I know there's 3 different fires, right? And so the first one, the Brentwood this morning, let's see, it says a dramatic 50-acre brush fire erupted this morning in the Sepulveda Pass area, prompting mandatory evacuation orders and completely closed down 405. And I believe there's 50 different schools that are closed down and whatever. So, you know, you can do whatever you feel and whatever I'm sure the fire department's around, whatever. But I really suggest for people to just stay in. If you're not in that area, we don't need more traffic out there. You know, be mindful and try and do your part as best you can today to support everybody in this process.
Well, as you mentioned, Erin, there is a huge fire near the Getty Center that is affecting the people in Bel Air, in Brentwood, a lot of the west side, but it's also happening. There's the Thomas Fire. I'm looking at CNN.com right now, and it says over 50,000 acres in Ventura County have burned. Over 27,000 people in that area have been evacuated. It's certainly affecting the entire Southern California region. Other fires include the Crake Fire, Rye Fire. It scorched over 16,000 acres, according to CNN this morning, combined in Los Angeles. Over 16,000 acres have burned.
And then just for anyone who's commuting, obviously there's been huge traffic and backup. But it says I-405 at Bel Air Crest Road, all northbound lanes blocked, traffic diverted off to Santa Monica Boulevard. All northbound I-405 on-ramps north of I-10 are blocked. Westbound, eastbound, I-10 to northbound I-405 is blocked for unknown duration due to brush fire.
Wow, so if you can stay home, please do, Los Angeles. You are going to want to avoid this and stay safe.
Absolutely.
Right. So right now, obviously, there's a lot of chaos in the news, and fires are something that people get really, really stressed out. So we wanted, one of the focuses here at Good Morning LaLa Land is to spin things in a positive way. We really, truly believe that that's kind of one of our biggest intentions around here. So let's talk about stress. I remember in 2008, which was 10 years ago, turning off the news because it was so negative.
Yeah, you do want to be careful of sort of focusing on the problem over and over again, ruminating on the problem. We tend to do that in our everyday life, but particularly when things like this happen, we tend to sort of ruminate on what's going wrong and not focus on what's going right or what we can control, So be very clear about the things that you can control and control those things, and the other things that you cannot control, you can't control. So you don't want to be stuck sort of thinking about those all day long.
What's interesting too is that people always say, I'm thinking of you, I'm sending my thoughts, I'm sending your prayers. And I recently read something that said, when you are sending those positive vibes out, be sure to encourage the positive and not focus on the negative, right? So reframing that whole state of mind, instead of saying something like, I hope your house doesn't burn down. I hope your house is safe. I hope your family is safe. And really spinning that in such a positive way rather than focusing on the negative, like you just said.
Right. So stress, some of the tips as far as mentally, what we do is we have people simplify their life. So one recommendation today is, if you are dealing with the fires, obviously you've got to deal with that, but maybe not turn on all the other news, all the other stuff going on. Begin to simplify your life. Get good sleep today, tonight. Eat well. Surround yourself with people that are positive. Don't overthink things. Just take care of the basics, and that is one of the primary stress things is to simplify.
Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to do that, and I do this with a lot of my clients, I also do it myself, is just as often as you can throughout the day, take one joyful breath. As often as you can remember.
Well,
no matter what else you're doing,
it is snowing ash in certain areas of Southern California, so you might want to rethink that deep breath.
Well, here's the thing. If you stop breathing, that's going to be a much bigger problem, right?
Breathe inside.
Yes, exactly.
People, breathe inside.
Absolutely. I think situations like this just makes you aware of how precious the air is and how precious and lucky we are to be able to breathe any air at all, and particularly when it's clean, always helpful.
Completely
no question
right.
about that. Yeah,
so I'm curious to know, Skirball Fire, which is called, so it's because there's a building up there called Skirball?
Yes.
Is that why it's called that?
There is the Skirball Center, and I thank you for bringing that up, Erin. I just saw on CNN that they are closing the Skirball for the day. The Getty Center is closed to the public today, as well as the Skirball. They're just closing for the day. We will have more information soon whether or not it's going to be affected for the remainder of the week.
Right. And then it says that Bel Air is forced mandatory evacuation, so with all kinds of multi-million-dollar homes. So, I think so many times people think, well, it's not going to happen to me, and hopefully it won't happen. But I think please use precaution. Please just, you don't want to wait too long. It would be really bad if people wait too long.
Yeah, if you're in an evacuation zone, you should just evacuate.
What's really interesting though too is, and you mentioned this earlier, is about the firefighters. There are over 200 firefighters right now as we speak at the Skirball.
It's incredible.
The courage that takes to stand in face of that adversity. Sometimes I don't have courage just to even send an email, right? You overthink that. And these men and women are standing on the battle lines fighting these
their
this
lives.
blaze.
And there's 25-mile-per-hour winds, so I'm sure that's feeding the fire. I'm sure it makes it hard for all the firefighters, and we're just knowing that hopefully the winds will die down, and knowing that this breakdown for all of us is a way for community to come together. So any way you feel like can serve, help, whatever. I don't know where people are supposed to go. We don't have that information right here.
There are about 12 shelters that are open. Over a dozen actually shelters are open. So you can go online and check that out and see what, if there's a shelter close to where you live.
So just Google in shelters for the fire.
Yeah, they're mostly at recreation centers. I have a list here.
Yeah. Get on it, Rob.
Yeah,
Jeez, it's funny because people watching, this is not certainly what we prepared for. As we mentioned earlier, we had this whole show planned around Wealth Wednesday and what we're focusing on and bringing positivity. And we came in this morning and that was scrapped. And that was scrapped because what's happening in Los Angeles is what this show is about. We're here for you to talk about what's going on, what's affecting your lives. And it's directly affecting our community in the studio and Zoe's family. And this is why we want to talk about it. So forgive us for not being readily prepared for this information. We aren't a news show. We're a lifestyle show, and it's affecting the lives of LA. So we're just doing the best we can to find the information for you and share it with you. But you are our resource, LA. Direct message us. Send us messages on Instagram, Facebook. Tell us how you're dealing with it so we can share that information with you.
And I absolutely love that. You're absolutely right about that, and that is certainly our intention. And at the same time, right, it's also about reframing things in a way that's constructive and helpful and positive and useful and valuable. And it being Wealth Wednesdays, it's an interesting question. What is true wealth?
Right?
Right? I mean,
Good
what is
question.
true wealth? If
Great
everything that
question.
you have or that you own or that you've earned or acquired or achieved can go up in smoke,
Right.
quite literally, is that true wealth?
Wow.
Right?
I
So,
agree.
I mean,
I
that's the
agree.
question I ask myself every day is like, is this stuff that I have,
Right?
does that count?
And you know that people that are, you hear it over and over again, really wealthy people, that if they have a hard time, they go bankrupt, whatever, they can make back their wealth so fast, 'cause it's really a mindset.
Absolutely.
And so I do think that times like this, where we're dealing with fires, dealing with the possibility of losing everything, there's some blessings in that.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you get like, what do I really care about? What are my values?
Yeah.
If it's all gone and I can't take the stuff with me, whether it be in a fire at the end of this life, where do I want to spend my time? Right?
Absolutely. It drives you so much deeper into sort of discovering for yourself, like what's true security and true stability. Like I have executive coaching clients that I talk to all the time, and we talk about that because, for large segments of the population, I was a huge part of that population myself, my security and my stability was in my ability to generate income or to have income, or it was in my cars and my house and my assets and my investments.
Completely.
And those things, banks fail, things, people lie, people cheat, people steal, and sometimes money just disappears or things just
Right.
disappear. And so for me, real security and real stability lies beyond all of that. It's nice to have those things, of course, but that's not where you'll ever find real security, stability. In your
All
life.
right,
Yeah.
he's
I
doing
gotta
a
get off
little,
my-
he's doing a little
I got-
preacher.
I got a little preacher
no,
right
which
there.
is good. I like it. It was good.
true.
It was
It's
so,
true, yeah.
so true. So
Oh,
true.
we
So-
appreciate that insight and sharing your story and your heart with us,
completely.
Rob.
I think we might want to go back to some of the footage again because I know that people will be kind of coming in and out, and I think it's really important because I think that they can see the fire up there, which is such great footage. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to put back on that footage at all. I don't know if they're paying attention in the back room, but okay, we're going to roll it
Absolutely.
again right now. You can check out our mascot, Zoe, and the Focus TV family, and you can oversee the fire and Channel 7 ABC. The back, you see the news all the time, but you don't see behind the scenes of the news. So it's pretty cool footage, and knowing safety for everyone here in Los Angeles.
And it's such a heartfelt moment to see Zoe and our studio family.
Here they are.
If you're watching us on Instagram, check out the Facebook. Unfortunately, we're not able to stream this time the footage that we're showing live on Facebook right now, but we would love for you to see it, facebook.com/Good Morning LaLa Land. We've got ABC7 right now behind the scenes at the home of Zoe and her family and Focus TV, the hub, live right now. It's incredible just to see what's happening behind the scenes.
Waldman family is to my right, but we're going to push into the fire. We're going to then talk to the Waldman family who's collecting some things to get out. They're here, they're over here. We're ready when you are. Standing by. Thank you. We're about to go in maybe 30 seconds.
Yes, Yes, Philip and Leslie, we're here off of Cassiano and Mulholland, and you can see over my shoulder the fire as it goes up this canyon here. We're in the backyard of the Waldman family. They've been so kind to bring us into the backyard so we could see the fire as it slowly pushes up this hillside. That's unfortunate, as you mentioned, if there could be possibly some homes on fire. I have the Waldmans actually standing by with me right now. Mrs. Waldman, her daughter, and their little dog, Zoe. And when we pulled up, you guys were packing up. Tell us what you heard, what you saw. Did you get any warning?
I did. I got a really lovely friend called me this morning and said, oh my God, Cassiano Road, but there's another Cassiano Road down there. It just happens to be the same name, but it woke us up, and she said it was near the Getty. And then my dear neighbor around the corner called. We spoke this morning, and she gave me some advice. We're from the East Coast. We've only lived here 9 years, so this is, you know, panic mode, and we decided what to pack.
What did you pack? What did you grab?
Immediately ran and got like our passports, because my husband said everything can be replaced, and you know, I just wanted all of our photos. I mean, I literally just grabbed boxes and boxes of photos that are sitting upstairs waiting to be gone through.
And looking over your shoulder, I mean, you see these flames right next to these homes.
I mean, this is really hitting home. I mean, it's yesterday I was talking about all the people who are affected by the fires, and I was thinking how sad it was, and my kids had no school, and they were happy, and I said, but we have to realize the reason why you don't have school, and now it's happening to us. So when we woke up, it was really scary, because we went up on our second floor, and we looked out, and it was really, really strong flames in the darkness, and so I was in panic mode. I mean, my heart was pounding, and I just started grabbing things.
So what's next for you? Where are you going? What are you doing next?
We're gonna go to my husband's studio and hang out there and watch TV, and we were just getting ready to go over there, and I don't know. I mean, we're not gonna go far. Mm-hmm. We're just gonna keep an eye on the news. We'll be watching you guys to see if it's coming, but it's scary for sure. This is, like they say, right in your backyard. So I don't know. I don't know if we're supposed to evacuate, but we are evacuating.
Yeah, no, you're taking every precaution necessary. Mrs. Waldman, thank you very much. You can let us know if we can help you. Good luck to you and your family, and
I mean,
Yeah.
There we go.
hey,
Okay.
we are back. We've got Zoe. You just saw footage of Zoe and her family this morning on ABC7, the behind the scenes. We are so glad that she and her family are safe today. LA is dealing with a massive fire. 4 different fires have broke out, and it is affecting the families and the animals and the community of LA in a way that just leaves me speechless.
Right.
Really. We're so grateful that the community has been tuning in and checking in with us. Thank you, Gabe Ryder. We just saw you posted a video, one of ABC7 actually, where we just got our footage as well and checked in for you and your family. We really appreciate that. We want to know how it's affecting you, your home, your commute. Send us a message on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to share your stories.
And just to kind of come back to what's going on out there. So we have 4 fires in the Los Angeles area. We have one that is the Skirball fire, which is 50 acres in the Bel Air area. And then we have, so the 405 freeway's been shut down. We also have the Rye fire and the Creek fire and Thomas fire, which is up in Ventura. So I'm not sure how many acres. It's like ridiculous how many acres.
Yeah.
It's like taking over.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. The winds are a huge factor in this. So anywhere in Los Angeles, even if the fire isn't directing you directly, you hear the wind. It's crazy. Trees are blowing down. I mean, there's 25-mile-an-hour winds out there. So if you're not directly in Los Angeles, that's how these fires are spreading.
And those winds change directions pretty quickly, which makes it really,
Story
really tough
of
for
life,
firefighters.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Just like fire and negativity,
Yes.
that spreads quickly. You want to tell
We
me
have
about
50 schools that have been shut down. So we're basically saying we came in this morning. We were not planning on doing covering the fires. We were going to be talking about Wealth Wednesday, and it's just I think it's a divine, sign for all of us that life happens. We can't plan for everything that happens.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn how to deal with stress, deal with being overwhelmed, and what do we do coming together as a community during these times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to let it remind you of the things that are most important in your life, for sure, and you want to make sure that you're connecting with those people that are most important in your life.
Speaking of connecting with those people, the president, Donald Trump, has tweeted to Southern California this morning, "Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in the path of California's wildfires. I encourage everyone to heed the advice and orders of local and state officials. Thank you to all the first responders for your incredible work." Thank you, Mr. President.
Right, and we have how many? 200 firefighters, is that right?
Over 200 firefighters just at Skirball. That's just one of 4 fires that are happening in Southern California right now.
That's a lot. So just giving a shout out to all the firefighters. We know how hard, I can't even imagine how hard the work is, and just grateful for your work, for everything you guys are doing. And we know there's tons of people at work to help the animals, the horses, all types of things. So please, if you don't have to go into work, if you don't have to make more congestion in the Los Angeles area, please do what you can do to help in any way, right?
Absolutely. Situations like this can make you feel very helpless and overwhelmed, and it can, invite a lot of fear into your life. So you want to take action on the things that you can take action on, the things that you can control. So if you can reach out to friends, reach out to friends. If you can, help in some other way, do that. But you want to make sure that you're focusing on the things that you can control, because it will help other people and also help you sort of deal with the stress.
Absolutely. So on CNN this morning, I saw a post rather, Joy Newcombs. She was heading to work in Playa Vista on the 405, and she said that she could literally feel the heat on her windows. It's such a metaphor for life. I mean, things in Los Angeles, things around the world, it's heating up. Really, we can feel it. The pressure is on us, and it's really hard to maintain a positive outlook in the face of all of this.
I think one thing also, like social media, like say you are evacuated, say and you have got it's stressful enough, but to energize it all day long, look at all the stuff, I'm not sure if that's necessarily needed.
I agree with you. I think you want it to be informative, but you don't want it to be demoralizing, right? So you want to consume just enough to know what action you can take, what you should be doing, so you can stay ahead of the curve and sort of ahead of what's happening, but you don't want to continue consuming to the point where you feel.
But how do you really do that, Rob? Because if people are trying to stay informed and are checking in, and you look at news sources like CNN or Fox News or Reddit, whatever it might be, and it's just in your face. I've not even stayed as informed as I'd like to be quite honest, because I'm sick of all the negativity. I look on Facebook and it's just complaint after complaint, sob story after heartbreaking, tragic news, and I have a hard time just dealing with that.
So let's think about what are all the positive things that come out of something like this, right? I mean, obviously we know that people reach out, like you know who your real friends are, everyone comes together, community comes together, you get your values, you may get some value shifting as what's important to you in life. What else? What do you think?
One of the things also about adversity, and I think Jeslyn spoke to it well, just when she shared the thing about the heat on the window that the woman was sharing, it's like heat and pressure in our lives, the stress and adversity in our lives really does allow us to sort of express our best self. So it's an opportunity to express your best self. It is. Heat and pressure.
I'm so glad you think that's an opportunity for you, because
it is.
For me, that is so hard. I mean, stress can eat me away. It doesn't necessarily power me to be my best self. It certainly challenges me, but I wish it was that easy. You make it sound so good.
Yeah, well, I think, I work with a lot of peak performance, so athletes and peak performance in other spaces. And the one thing that makes Michael Jordan, that makes a Kobe Bryant, that makes, Dan Marino, is that they're able to see that stress or that adversity, that challenge in a way that most people don't, and that's what makes them extraordinary. And so it's like heat and pressure creates diamonds, literally. That's how diamonds are created.
I love that.
Right?
Great analogy.
And it's true with people too. It's true with people too.
And like today, so let's pretend like we have some Focus TV, some of our families here, they got evacuated from their home, right? So what do you do with that? How do you make this a productive, great day instead of having it be a snowball effect of just more stress? And it's not going to help. It's not going to help your family. It's not going to help anyone. Like, maybe put down the phone, go for a walk for a minute. Eat well. Make sure that you're getting yourself set up with your friends or family, whatever it is, to make sure that you can have a good night's sleep tonight. Because, let's get it. That right now, you're either going to, you're going to choose to say, I'm going to persevere. We're going to have, we're going to stay strong. We're going to have the benefits come out of this. Or you're going to go, life is too overwhelming. I can't do this. We're going to dramatize it. It's can be traumatic for the whole family. So it's really a choice.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this, Erin. If you make the bad choice, if you subconsciously you say, you know what, I'm overwhelmed, I'm having a horrible day, I can't deal with this. How do you pull yourself out of that? Because if you don't initially make the right choice, it doesn't have to be the end of the world, but it certainly can feel like it.
I think it's just asking for help, saying, I need help, I'm stressed. And whether it be reaching out to a community, whether it be, just saying that. I think in just stating that issue in of itself will begin the process of whatever. But I think we do have to take a break. So I just want to say, thank you and so much gratitude for all the firefighters out there. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to see the footage again. In Brentwood, we're also going to talk about how to deal with, how you can get involved, what's going on out there, because we know we're overwhelmed with the fires and all kinds of things. So how can you handle that heat and stay zen in Los Angeles? We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Right before the break, we were talking a little bit about the fires. We've been covering the fires here in the LA area. Kind of scary for lots of folks, very stressful and overwhelming. And we've been talking about how to cover those fires and how to deal with those fires from a more positive and conscious place, where you're taking sort of constructive and positive action to deal with them. And you asked a great question right before the break.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, right before the break, Justin.
Well, you're going to have to remind me of that question, Rob, because this is a morning where I needed espresso and I had coffee. And there's so much going on. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely.
But, it's really hard. I think what you're getting at is when you have a time where you maybe didn't make the right decision and you're in that place of stress, bouncing back from that and pulling yourself out of it.
Yeah, so I love taking naps. That's been my thing, and I'm not kidding you. When I'm super stressed,
I agree.
There's nothing like taking a nap when you're super stressed or overwhelmed and you're safe. Taking a nap is like one of the best things. It's an instant reset. That's the first thing. The other things that's extremely helpful for me is just focusing on the things that I can control. What do you do, Erin?
Well, I was driving to the studio this morning, and it was interesting because yesterday I saw it was still the super moon kind of left over, and there was some, smoke way off in the distance. And then today it was another one. It was more of a billowing kind of over the Bell area. And I went, wow, I'm glad that we're covering this because we had something else planned today, but it's just important to stay present. So for me, stress comes down to staying present. So I know that for me personally, where I'm living is not at risk right now, but I thought, okay, if it was me and I'm up there and I've got to evacuate, what would I do? So of course I would take my pictures for sure, number one, and I would figure out where I'm going to stay tonight, and I would probably get settled in, and I would also make sure I take maybe a little nap, because it's going to be a long day for people on social media to check it out.
I admire you two so much because you're so present, and then you just keep saying, I would take a nap. Oh my gosh. I don't know about the rest of you, Los Angeles. I can't take a nap. I can hardly sleep at night. I mean, let's be honest. I can fall asleep. I can't stay asleep because I am stressed out. I am worried. I love that you two are zen enough that you can rest.
But a nap doesn't mean that you have to actually fall asleep. A nap can mean that you lay there and you breathe and you go, I'm going to know there's an intelligence in me. There's an intelligence in this universe. And even though there's a breakdown of the fire, there's always growth. We see that on the land when the fire, there's a fire, and then we actually have a growth more than before the fire. So there is some people become stronger out of this, out of hard times, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Often in the news you hear a lot about post-traumatic stress disorder. But what's interesting is that, with most kinds of adversity, even the most extreme kinds of adversity, the much more likely outcome is post-traumatic growth. Statistically and scientifically, it's a much
no one
more,
talks about that.
No one ever talks about that. It doesn't get any airtime. But post-traumatic growth is actually a much more common, much, like infinitely more common phenomenon than post-traumatic stress disorder.
This is why we have
people don't realize that. But,
you have to remember, though, too, Rob, is that growth comes after that very dark moment for most people.
Yeah, well, it's like working out, right? So you work out, you feel a little weaker in the time being, no question about it. You feel overwhelmed, sometimes you're out of breath, the whole nine. But the next day or the day after you've gotten some rest and you've taken your nap, you come out of that and you're stronger, whether you realize it or not.
Right.
And so sometimes it takes, living life for a little while and then giving yourself some space, putting some space between the event
right.
and your own life before you realize, oh my goodness, that some of the best things that have come out of my life have come from a place of extreme hardship. It's when things have gone wrong, when I've lost something or I've lost someone, there's always something that comes out of that that's made my life more rewarding, more fulfilling. It's increased the depth of my gratitude. So you're better off, believe it or not, in all kinds of myriad ways.
Well, isn't that why we call the tagline, where shift
Yes.
happens? Because that's the point. We're actually making history right here at Good Morning LaLa Land. We're actually the very first live streaming daily talk show with a twist of positivity, because I felt so intentional about having a conversation to start the day. Oh, we're going to the footage again right now. So it doesn't have sound this time. So we're gonna actually, I'm gonna kind of explain what's going on right here. So we've got Channel 7 ABC. If you see the footage, it's actually the behind the scenes footage of what happens. Here's the cameraman and showing this huge camera. My gosh,
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
cameras,
yeah.
right?
That's the Focus TV family
and there's
there.
Zoe
Yeah.
right there, and the Waldman family, our Focus TV family, and they're kind of showing this. Look at all that smoke in the
Wow,
background,
it's
right?
incredible, absolutely.
That sky, we have a comment here on Facebook. Thanks for watching, Phil Ranta. He even said that sky though, and there is something so sad and beautiful about this tragedy. When you look at that, you really recognize the force that is Mother Nature.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Right, and we need to take care of her right here in Los Angeles. You know, we need a lot of innovation around our toxins and our ability to handle emergencies like this, for sure. So right now, I don't know what they're talking about. I can't hear it myself right now, but I know that Channel 7 is kind of just showing footage. It's a great place. Look up there. You can oversee the entire valley over there.
But this is really a historic moment, and a historic moment for us at Good Morning LaLa Land and Focus TV, just showing how directly affected Los Angeles is and this community is by the situation that is happening right now. I mean, the news station is there. They're with Zoe. Look at her. She's so cute. We're so glad you're safe and in the studio, Zoe. She's over there cuddling on the other set right now. But the fact that the news is there and they're talking to the Focus family about this community, it's really an unprecedented opportunity for us to be able to share that with you as well.
Yeah. It's really the reason we created the show. To be honest, the intention was to provide information in a way that was positive and constructive and very conscious, so that we aren't just dramatizing things that are happening, but we're sharing information that can be useful and valuable to you, but within a context and in a way that you can digest it and actually process it and do something very valuable and useful with it. You know?
And you
That's great,
spoke
Rob.
before about breath, like breathing.
Yeah,
And I'll never forget that one time I went to an Eastern doctor, and he said, just every hour, take 10 deep breaths. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And I went, like, how often do we do that? Once an hour? I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Really?
It's so funny because when I get acupuncture, I have a condition with my hands, and I go to acupuncture every week, and I'm sitting there and I'm in my treatments, and he'll remind me, you're not breathing.
Yeah.
And I think, oh my God, you're right. I haven't even remembered to take a breath. It's hard for me to be even conscious about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like anything in life, it becomes much more, that becomes a much more salient point, and it becomes much more obvious to do when you're lacking it, when you're missing it, when it's not there anymore. And so I know that, like with athletes, for instance, one of the things that we talk to them about is when they're extremely stressed out or extremely anxious and they're breathing a very shallow sort of way, that's when it's most important to slow down your breathing and be more mindful and intentional about your breathing. Yeah, I saw it actually in the Vegas shooting. I heard a report in a story about an off-duty police officer that saved a guy, and this guy who the off-duty police officer was saving had saved 30 people, right?
Wow.
But when he got to the guy that had saved 30 people, the off-duty police officer said to him, you know, how are you? And the guy was going into panic. And the off-duty police officer, in a very strategic, mindful way, said to him, this is the very moment that you need to breathe deeply and slowly and mindfully. And so you sort of want to remember that when you're feeling most stressed and most anxious, and it seems like that's the last thing on your mind, it's really the first thing that you need to remember.
Yeah. Another thing is I remember that for the firefighters out there, I just want to give a shout out to you guys. We really appreciate girls and guys. That I know there's a lot of toxins. You know, things are burning that are not just the shrub, right? There's toxins that go in all this fire, and so I remember that there's different organizations. I know that in New York, the firefighters, they put them through a different sauna programs and stuff to help detox them, because all those toxins get like lodged in the body, and there's different ways. So I just want to give a shout out to you guys, knowing that as you know you're going through this intense time with these fires, that I'm sure there's many different people to support in helping people, because if you're breathing that smoke in, it can be very toxic.
It's one of my favorite things about actually LA, one of the reasons I moved to LA, because it's such a conscious city, and the medical facilities here, doctors, scientists are so leading edge. It's unbelievable. And so if there's one place to go for sort of medical help, I think LA's got to be at the top of that list.
And there's tons of juicing places. You can go and do some juicing.
You know, though, it's so...
Well, that from experience.
So getting back to the basics in this, and as, you know, even the head of Focus TV reminded me, you have to put your mask on first. And the better you're going to be able to take care of your family and to serve your community, you have to take care of yourself.
Right?
Yeah, I love that.
Looks like we're back with the footage again. I love that they put her in the firefighter yellow pants, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was just because they wanted to like kind of hype it up, or if they actually like it's kind of a protocol.
Well, we have
prepared.
We have an update here. You're watching footage behind the scenes of ABC7 covering the fire, the Skirball fire here in Los Angeles today. CNN just reported that 4 homes so far have been destroyed in the Skirball fire. It's now burning up to 150 acres and still burning.
Whoa, it was 5 acres this morning when I looked at Twitter this morning, and so then it was 50 when we got in the studio. Now it's 150?
150. It's these 25-mile-an-hour winds are spreading this fire, and it's spreading quickly.
I wonder what's going on at the Getty Museum. I wonder how, gosh, we're just going to
they were saying
hope that doesn't.
The Getty Center is closed to the public today. The fire is northeast of the Getty Center, east of the San Diego Freeway. Air filtration systems are protecting the galleries from the smoke, according to CNN.
Imagine all that art in there. Oh, that would not be good.
We're continuing to monitor the situation via the news we have access to. Let us know, LA, what you are seeing, how it's affecting you in these fires. There are over, it's amazing. There's 4 fires burning in Southern California right now.
So yeah, you can direct message us on either Instagram under Good Morning LaLa Land. You can send us any footage you have, anything, we can put you on our story there. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Good Morning LaLa Land, and we're happy to post if there's some good footage, whatever, or coping mechanisms, stress mechanisms, whatever you have for our community, right?
Absolutely, and sometimes just sharing in and of itself is so helpful.
Yeah.
You know, so if you got pictures and comments, questions, we love those.
It's certainly affecting everyone's commute. They're calling it the Carmageddon once again now. The 405 is shut from the 101 to the 10, which has derouted everybody trying to get anywhere in this city. The streets are crazy.
And 50 schools are shut down. We personally have a few teenagers hanging around the studio today from evacuation. So what do you do with your kids? Like say they're home for the day and maybe you don't have to be evacuated, but what would you do? What are some things you would do today with the kids?
Oh, it's a great question. I mean, I think the first thing I would check in how they're feeling, right? And what they're thinking. I think that's the first place you start. And you do that from a space of unconditional regard, right? You just offer them a safe space to share what they're thinking and feeling without any judgment, without any interruption, without any defensiveness or reactivity, without trying to make it better right away. It's one of the greatest things you can do is just allow people the space to be fully themselves, particularly kids, because you want them to be in touch with how they feel and think about things, so as they live their lives, they begin to trust that more and more.
Let me ask you this, Rob, because being an engaged listener and an open listener like that is an incredible thing, but giving your reaction to that, right?
Yeah.
That's even more powerful. How do you, let's say, in that situation, how do you react?
Yeah, so
without judgment or?
So ideally, you'd want to listen with a very quiet mind, right? So as I sit here listening to you, I'm trying not to just wait for you to stop talking so I can talk again, right? That's
I know with that. Rob is always waiting for his turn so patiently, and Erin and I are like.
But I genuinely am interested in what you have to say. So So if I'm genuinely interested in what you have to say more than what I have to say, then I'm going to listen with a very quiet mind. And my reaction is going to be undisturbed. I'm not going to have a defensive or reactive kind of response to what you're saying. I'm just going to listen. And as you finish completely what you're saying, then the proper response is, what I heard you say was this. Did I hear you correctly? That's it. If you do that with kids, or you do that with adults, that's 90% of the work. It's just validating and normalizing and reflecting back to them their own thoughts and feelings.
So important. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the kids out there, the teenagers are probably like, woohoo!
Oh man, celebrating. I know I was. Yeah.
But then they're
Yeah.
also probably like freaked out. Maybe
Yeah.
some of their friends are dealing with, the possibility of their home, fire, whatever going on. And so I think it's important, to just talk to them.
Yeah.
Also, have it be a day to relax and get rejuvenated.
Totally. And kids are super resilient. In fact, lots of ways they're more resilient than adults are. They don't tend to ruminate as much as we do as adults. They're more present. They bounce back more quickly. You see them have a fight, they forgive more quickly.
So how do we lose that as we
Yeah.
grow up, Rob?
Yeah, it's too much thinking for the most part. We revisit the same experiences over and over again. The more life you live, the more experiences you have. Of course, that means you're going to have more negative experiences, quote unquote. And before long, you develop a way of processing information that's so greatly influenced by society and other people that you become sort of a negative processor of information. And so, you really want to just be mindful about that. Not everyone has that experience. Some people learn to process information that's positive and in a positive way, in a constructive way. So you just really want to learn to reframe things, as you said so eloquently.
Right.
Well, what's interesting though too is that so many people think that the greatest prediction of the present or the future is what's happened in the
Oh,
past.
it's huge, man.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
you're doing your research, girl.
No, I'm just living life,
Yes,
and that's something
right?
that it's a conversation I've had with friends of mine, in trying to navigate that
Wow.
as an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
It's incredible. Dan Gilbert wrote an amazing book called Stumbling Onto Happiness. And that was one of his
That's a great one.
major
Right?
findings, and
I remember
insights,
that book.
is that we largely see the future through a lens of the past. So we think it's going to be mostly like the past. And that's actually extremely unproductive and maladaptive. So we want to begin to think.
What do you mean maladaptive?
Yeah, it means, so if I've had a very troubling past, right, I think that the future is going to be much like the past. That's a problem because now I'm not open to new opportunities. I'm
Projecting.
not. Yes.
What we call projecting.
Yeah. We're regurgitating past experiences and they become self-fulfilling prophecies. So,
Right.
you want to be able to see things in new ways and fresh ways. Then you have fresh insights, you make new connections with people maybe you wouldn't otherwise make. All of a sudden, your life can take a much
Yeah.
more positive.
So maybe that's the
direction.
challenge and the invitation today is to kind of take a look at this, like you can take a look at this fire and this day and the insanity and the chaos and the stress as something like that's going to be really bad, or you can go, wow, I wonder what could be the blessings that could come out of this. What can be the miracles that come out of this? So staying in that mindset for sure.
Well, and
Absolutely.
just because my world is burning now, or it's burned before, it doesn't mean it's going to keep burning.
Absolutely.
Got more sirens going
Absolutely
by. My
true.
goodness.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
Yeah.
They're going the opposite. Oh, they're going to the hospital probably. So just again
Peace
to
be
recap,
with you.
we have 4 fires right now. We have Thomas Fire, Rye Fire, Creek Fire, and Skirball Fire. So I didn't even know about Rye Fire. Did you guys know about that one?
No, thank God for you. Honestly, I would not have known about that. No, I didn't.
Yeah, it says the Creek and Rye Fire have scorched at least 16,000 acres combined in the Los Angeles County.
Wow. Isn't it kind of weird, don't you think, you guys, that how does one fire happen and then just randomly these other fires happen? It's almost like it makes you consider, consciousness and
It
what's
does.
really going on a cosmic level.
Absolutely, because you suddenly realize there are connections between things you never knew there were connections between. For one, that's true for me.
Or
Yeah.
that the winds are so strong that the embers of one fire are burning and spreading this all over. And I guess that
what
parallels.
happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it makes sense to me. I mean, that's how a fire jumps a highway. So I would think that's how a fire jumps a county.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out, and I'm sure they probably can't even figure that one out, how it exactly starts. I mean, they're like, this one ember was from up north,
Right.
like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But if you know something about that, let us know, you guys. Let us know if maybe there's an expert out there that knows about how fires happen to, go into other areas. It seems way too far for one ember to travel, but
Yeah.
I do believe that we consciously are very powerful, and if we have the fear of fire, that it can actually manifest like in some random way of.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I know I've read a little bit about how, let's say, an animal in a certain area of the world picks up a certain new skill or way of doing things, and you look
The
across.
100th monkey, right?
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
The monkey?
Yeah, it's called the 100th monkey study, and actually I think it's been debunked. But it's like, I don't know what the study and the science exactly is, but by the time on one island, the 100th monkey has learned like something like to peel a banana a certain way, the other monkeys on the other island all know how to peel the banana.
That could happen. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, yeah. So
It's
debunked.
one of the
Okay.
realities that we're one
Connected.
consciousness. Like we do know that, like scientifically, that we're all connected. Energetically, it all affects everything. So, it's a thought.
It's a thought.
So put good juju out for the fires. Imagine
bottom line.
everything is going well. It's all perfect. This is what prayer is about, right? So, just beginning to hold the best outcome, safety, and all the above.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Power of the mind.
Yeah, FEMA has just tweeted that they've been approved fire management assistant grants for the Thomas Fire, Creek Fire, and Rye Fire to help cover the cost of emergency work in California.
Wow. That's
Wow.
fantastic.
That's fantastic. That's
great.
powerful.
Amazing.
It's incredible to me. There's so many people out in the world that are dedicated to these causes, right? And knowing that there's going to be emergencies and things that happen that put people in danger, threaten their lives, threaten their well-being, and they're dedicated their entire lives. It's their mission, their purpose to help other people.
I want to showcase those people.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
right?
Oh my gosh.
We showcase all
Yes.
the insanity and all the dark things, but I want to showcase some
absolutely.
of the
First
positive
responders, organizations like FEMA. It's incredible. Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? I do spiritual work, and I'm a spiritual coach, if you will, love coach as well, whatever, wellness, all the above. But I remember one time I was at this gathering. It was like a launch of a big production here in Los Angeles. And there was a firefighter there, and we were introducing each other, and I said, I do some spiritual work. And he took me off kind of to the side of the party, and he said, I never tell anybody this, but I was in this fire and I saw an angel.
Whoa.
And I remember thinking, people don't tell each other that, but it's like, you'd be amazed. I wonder what the experience is that some of these firefighters have. Some of the miracles, some of the things that happen that come out of this. I'm sure there's so many dark things and there's so many miracles that come out.
So, Erin, what was your reaction when he said, I was in a fire and I saw an angel?
She's like, it was me. We all know. We know that you, right?
I was just like what Rob
You're
said.
gardening
I
with
just
us.
listened.
Yeah.
I didn't have my input. I didn't go, oh, well, that's why. And I
Right.
just allowed him to just tell his story, because I think he probably was never able to ever tell that story.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me, I knew growing up, and I take science classes and whatnot, and it was all about, evolution. It was all about self-preservation, right? And I remember getting to a place where I read, have you heard of the writer Schopenhauer?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right? So
I haven't.
So
So for the rest of LA
it's a
that
Cliff
has
Notes
it.
version. Yeah, the Cliff Notes version is, he said something very interesting. He said, to all those people essentially that say, we only live this life for ourselves and we're all very selfish. He said, everybody's life, there's usually a moment when you either observe or you're part of an experience where somebody, for no good reason, tries to save somebody else's life who they do not know, a complete stranger. And he's like, in that very moment, there's a discovery that happens or an insight that happens that allows you to feel connected to humans at the deepest level. And so for me, if there's any testament that there's a God, or there's an intelligence, or there's something that connects us all, it's that.
Right.
It's strangers helping strangers for no good reason and
Isn't
risking
there
their
that
lives.
story of, I think it was a firefighter, I don't know the exact story, but it was
Yeah.
something about some guy jumping off a bridge
Yes.
back east or something, and it was some story about how the firefighters, like all of a sudden they just all like, he said there was just this power that came over him, this feeling of having to save this person, and there was no him versus me versus anything. I don't remember. Do you remember that story?
I know what you're referencing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I think there's certainly something special, and you can even call it spiritual, that happens when somebody risks their life to save somebody else. whether they know them or not.
Right.
It's just incredible.
It's incredible.
And right now in Los Angeles, 1,000 firefighters are doing just that at the Thomas Fire.
Wow.
220 firefighters are now at the Skirball. Over 400 firefighters are fighting the Creek Fire right now.
You're on CNN?
I'm on CNN.com, and
Wow.
that's incredibly powerful. Thank you.
Yeah. So we just want to give a shout out to everybody, all the families out there, all the pets, all the firefighters, everyone involved. I know there's so many people we could never even know who to recognize, but I just want to recognize everyone coming together as a family, because LA can sometimes feel very disjointed. Sometimes it can feel isolating. Sometimes it can feel lonely. And I know that this is our opportunity to step forward as a community, as loved ones. So also, please check in on Facebook. Let us know that you're okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if there's anywhere else people can check in.
And if you're feeling lonely as well, and there's nobody that's reaching out to you, and you're kind of scared, you can always reach out to the Good Morning LaLa Land folks. We intend to be your virtual family at the very least.
At the very least, that's a great point, Rob. This show is all about bringing the community together, highlighting the people of Los Angeles and celebrating their stories. So send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, leave us a comment on YouTube. We're streaming live to you to be a part of your day.
Yeah. Please let us know also, today we did something totally different. We did the news, we did breaking news, and I think it went really well. I think it was really great, positive, and so give us your feedback, let us know how you experienced it, and looking forward to doing more coverage like this, hopefully with positive spins. Hopefully we're not dealing with big fires, but we'll be here. You guys have a wonderful day. Breaking the first ever live streaming daily talk show right here in Los Angeles. So have a divine day, you guys.
It's going to be a good morning, LaLa Land.
Indeed it is.
Cheers, you guys.
Cheers. Yeah, wow.
Nice.
You guys are so awesome.
Oh my God. Teamwork.
We did it. That was a good experiment.
Right?
That was a great experiment, right?
That's what we do, is we do experiments.
I like it.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Right? I've been holding that for a minute, huh? Yeah, I bet.
What did you think of it? Guys, I was stressing. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna see if I don't even know what colors I turned. They want me to. He's begging me. He's like, please.
Well, if you need anything, I'm literally 5 blocks from here, so if you need something. I would just go to the blow bar.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you just go to the blow bar, and then if you want something from me, bring whatever else you need.
Well, that's a good idea. Blow bar. My sister did that extra every day.
They're right here. I have to be at CNN in like an hour.
Blow board.
Right now.
Blow boards. Yeah, you won't be.
No, you don't. The hit is at 11:45.
Oh, yeah, it took my sister an hour 15 at blow bar.
I mean, I would wear my hat and just like wash my face, put makeup on,